Hey everybody, Texas Stroker here, Lance's Performance Shop, Lone Star Mopars.com. It is Tuesday, December 12th, a little after 9 p.m. It's freaking cold out here. But now that I've got your attention, this is going to be awesome. If you're someone like me, this is going to be very awesome. If you're maybe not quite like me, it should still be very interesting. Some of you, I don't know who, could potentially hate this. But for me, this is a big deal. I've also never, and believe me, I tried to look around when I was investigating this. I've never seen anyone do it. Is that why we're doing it? No, we're doing it because it's awesome. And I would do it regardless of if no one had done it or everyone had done it. And what we're going to do here is throw this down. You may remember we picked up the KTC sockets, picked these suckers up, kind of compare and contrast. Actually nickel and dimed the whole thing together. This is not like a set per se. This was bought piece by piece through DRPD warehouse sale. All right, it came out cheaper that way, and I'm thrifty, you know. So what can I say? What I want to say on this is you're probably okay. You know, I watched your video. You went in, you bought the deep set. You couldn't take just the shallows. Maybe you got the metric equivalent. We don't need this drug out with 20 additional minutes of comparisons and fitment. Don't worry. We're not doing that. Some of you are shocked and disappointed. The rest of you are like, finally, I'll fall asleep faster tonight. No, this is a big deal. And some of you are like, wait, I know what he's doing. He said shallow and deep, or would it be better to go with the semi? You got the semi-deep 12-point. I wish I did. I truly wish I did. And if you're sitting there, you're like, wait, I now have no idea where this is going. Something that's never been done. You think, well, maybe. Has anyone ever shown semi-deep, Nepros, who knows? But that's not it. That is not it at all. It is very important that you take a look at these sockets, because they are about to change. Not forever, but probably forever as long as they're in my possession. And, none of this probably makes any sense to you, but oh boy, I promise you, you're going to enjoy this. So, before I go any farther, not plugging merch, not doing anything like that. I'm telling you, for your convenience, I do timestamps. Feel free to use them. If you revisit the video, jump around, if you want to spoil things, you do you. I'm going to have a segment of this video, as I usually do, where I go into detail. That's going to mean part numbers. All right. What it is, the pricing, all that stuff. If you don't care about that, I get it. Skip around. But without further ado, some of you are like, hey, 3 empty pegs, buddy. What's the deal? Well, no 1-inch. And you're thinking like, no. I really watched the video. I even remembered you said you had the semi-deeps. And you had something populated there. What was it? And oh, that's what it was. Extension. Yep. Circle is complete. All is good in the hood, right? Not quite, because you might recall there's another extension, and it was really cool. And it was a wobble fix. Sort of like Koken's, right? That I didn't even know this when I ordered it, type of a thing. But yeah, it turns out KTC and Nepros have really cool extensions too. This one is a wobble fix. And you're like, okay, so you bought Nepros extensions because these were great, and you couldn't stand the contrast with like satin finish. All right, I'm clicking off now. No. I assure you, things are about to escalate, and they're going to escalate right now, because this extension is different, subtly different, even from this one. It has something different about it, and it's not the wobble fix, it's not the length, it's not the chrome, the mirror polish, nothing. It's that. Keen eyes see it. Do you see it? I hope you see it. You can't now, but now you can. You're thinking like, okay, what is it? Oh, it's the ball detent. Why is that one smaller? Is it just the wobble that does it? Well, that's not what I'm worried about. I'm gonna flip these around to the drive end. And you're thinking like, oh, wait, no, they're both 3/8. This one's actually seen more use, so don't let that fool you. This is it. The elephant in the room has been revealed. And you're thinking like, like, is that blue? It's like, what did you do? I didn't think this was like ink filled. I thought it was like a rubber ring. I know it's a rubber ring. I have Nepros ratchets, you say, or an extension or something, because you're cheap like me and you piece things together. And you're like, yeah, I have their spinner. That might be what you have. And you're like, it's definitely rubber. What have you done? Idiot, you went in, and this is going to be like a 19-minute tutorial on how to dye a rubber with some stupid Amazon kit, right? No. This that you see in the palm of my hand, this beautiful thing, is a colored rubber ring from Nepros. That's right, from Nepros. I didn't do this. This isn't my hack job. I haven't like customized it on my own. I'm doing something that Nepros has in their catalog. And it is super freaking cool, at least to me. Now, some of you don't care, that's fine. For everyone else, this is this is good stuff, right? I am giddy. Giddy as a little schoolgirl, right? This is something I did not intend to do tonight. I opened this up and I couldn't help myself. So what did I do? I knew I was going to make a video on it. I didn't plan to do it tonight, but I was like, I've just got to kind of see what this looks like. So I pulled this off. I slapped a blue ring on, and I was like, change of plans. The video must take place, and it must take place now, because I will not be able to sleep tonight until we execute this absolute thing of beauty. So, breaking this down for you, Nepros, standard stuff, ratchets, extensions, and sockets. I'll give you the visual here. We got the NBR390, the revised one. This is the Flex. And right here, the compact spinner, there's a rubber ring. I flip this ratchet around, and you're like, oh, I always wondered what that was. Yeah, well, it's a rubber ring, right? Provides a little extra grip, a little anti-slip for you. Right here, the OG Force. We've got this one. It's got the black ring. This has the first spinner I bought because at the time they didn't have the compact one. And this is one of those things that really kind of sold me on spinners because it never leaves this ratchet. And I was like, oh, that's actually kind of nice. Well, rubber ring, rubber ring, rubber ring, rubber ring. All the sockets, rubber rings, the black thing. Yeah, it is all interchangeable. Now, there's several different sizes. We're going to go over that so you kind of have some inkling of what to expect or what to look for. Everything you see here can be changed, all right? Now, I don't know if any of you have like insights into rubber, or you're like, oh, that looks like stuff my daughter plays with. You could totally go out and grab your wife's makeup, jewelry, women things, or your daughter's toy, and maybe something plugs in. Maybe you've got rubber bands and you can do the same thing for less money. But Nepros, if I turn around here, they have, I believe, they do sell the blacks. Like, let's say that just, I don't know, you're sitting there wrenching, you've got two sockets and something fell into brake fluid. I'm not saying brake cleaner, I'm saying brake fluid. It just ate it up, okay? Or maybe you were working in tight quarters and the rubber ring somehow grazed against, some sheet metal and it sliced it and it just was in two pieces, one piece but a slit, right? You're like, oh no, that really sucks. I kind of want that rubber ring there. I loved it. You can get a replacement, but you can also get replacements in various colors. I've got blue here. They also have, which some of you may prefer, which this was brought in for your viewing presence, red. They've got yellow. Yours truly, not too long ago, completed a survey where I spent a lot of time suggesting new products and ideas, the Nepros, which kudos to them for asking. I have this that I'm willing to share with companies, and so many just don't care, or they're not interested. Will any of it see the light of day? I don't know. But one of the things, I was like, hey, this rubber ring thing's kind of unique. Maybe you should expand the colors. Where you could go with this, if you're in the Nepros ecosystem, or you're a collector, or you're like, you know what, screw it. I've had Craftsman USA growing up. I bought Pittsburgh or Harbor Freight's mid-tier or Husky. I'm a little more established in life. Kids are grown, whatever your circumstances are. If you're like, you know what, I'm going to get myself some nice tools. Whether you're going to daily drive them, use them exclusively, or just have them sit pretty in a toolbox, you can come in and you can custom tailor this stuff. So if you just went hog wild on Nepros and you bought every socket set, they're going to come in on these rails. Very nice, very unique, very cool looking, complements the sockets aesthetics beautifully. However, your metrics are going to look just like this. And now you're thinking like, oh, yeah. So black is metric. That's my main thing. I'm just going to yank this off and I'll slap blue or red down. Some of you might be like, well, I always do blue SAE and red metric, or vice versa, which I don't agree with. But that seems what most people do. SAE is red, metric is blue. You kind of have unlimited options here with what's offered. Black, red. If you just use exclusively, you know, like maybe you're just sitting there building Honda B stuff, you know, I don't know what you do. If you want to color code 4 different sockets, you can do that. If you're in a production industrial type of a setting and you use 7/16, half, 9/16, and 3/4 at a certain task, it would be way more practical with like the 3 similar size sockets, right? 7/16, half, and 9/16. Black, red, yellow, blue. See where I'm going there? It's color coded. As Vera's Take It Easy, but a little bit more permanent maybe. Super, super cool stuff here. Now, I have a litany of this stuff. This is where you can check out. It really does not bother me. You can jump around. But if this piques your interest, I have taken the time. Literally, it took me not terribly long, but I spent some time and I sort of like compiled everything. And when I say everything, I'm only referencing 3/8 sockets here, okay? Because that's all I've got from Nepros. So I kind of want to walk you through it. If you have an NBR390 or NBR390A, presumably, or the spinners, I've also got you covered. Quarter drive, if that's where you... Actually, the quarter Nepros, I don't believe have the rubber rings. It's kind of interesting. Half inch, I don't have you covered. I apologize. I don't have any of them. If I get a deal, I'll make a video. But what I want to highlight is these various sets coming in, and this stuff is very, very affordable in my opinion, especially for something custom that's, you know, it's not like I'm gonna rip that off and come in with nail polish and it's gonna chip out or flake or doesn't adhere well and I don't have the hearts. None of that. Like this is good to go. All right. I essentially have various types of rubber rings here. Okay. Now that's how Nepros is going to refer to them. In fact, this is going to be type 1. The part number for type 1, NTY R01 10, in this case B. If you're like, man, this would be so cool if you did a red, put an R instead of a B. Okay, what do you think the yellow is? I don't know. Could it possibly be Y? Sure could. Case in point, I will drag them out for you. All right. Again, NTY R01 10, Y for yellow, R for red, B for blue. This is the type 1 rubber ring. Each pack is going to have 10. You're going to pay $6 per pack, not per ring. So, doing the simple math, 60 cents. All right. If you have 4 Nepros sockets, you really treated yourself, it's for some specific task or interior job, and you're like, I would really love if I could tell my, 8, 10, 12, and 13 apart or whatever, okay? Color code them. You get to pick. If you want the small size to be red, the big size to be blue, you do you, okay? But essentially, $6 per pack, so it's 60 cents per ring. You could buy one of these packs and you can make those 4 sockets color coded, and then you have extras left in the event of damage or discoloring or whatever may happen to them. All right. Now, this pack, this type 1, is going to cover a lot of sockets. Okay, this is like the bread and butter, and it's so awesome that it's a 10 pack. Quarter through 9/16. All right, that is right there all the way through. So in my case, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sockets that are covered with the type 1 ring. Being the nice guy that I am, even though I don't like it, I've got the metric people covered here too. The equivalent there in the Nepros type 1, 5.5 to 15 millimeters. So 9/16 and 14 kind of cross over. 15 works. 5/8 does not. All right. Type 2, which you're going to hopefully see right there. This is where you could kind of complain a little bit. You start having like fewer fitments and whatnot, but just roll with it. Type 2, NTY R02 10, insert your color, B in this case. 10 pack, $6, 60 cents each. This fits 5/8 and 11/16 or 16, 17, and 18 millimeter sockets. Coming in next, we'd have our type 3. That's going to be NTY. I'm trying to grab this on the side for you. Let's see. This might be easier if I go by this, which is what I will do. Right here. You're thinking like, those are bigger and there don't seem to be as many. Great observation. All right. NTY R0305 B for blue. 5 pieces, $4.50. That's going to be 90 cents each. Yes, the price goes up. This fits a 3/4 for me. Kind of a, oh, that's sad. Plenty of extras. Metric people, 19 and 20. All right. Coming in next, we have got a, you guessed it, Type 4. This part number NTY RO405 B for blue. Once more, 5 pieces, $4.50, 90 cents a piece. 13/16 and 7/8, or in metric land, a 21, 22, 23 millimeter socket. Now we get to kind of the last hoorah in terms of my socket set. It's going to be a Type 5. You can see it right here. NTY R0503 B for blue. Again, plug in R for red, Y for yellow. Hopefully, if they take my advice, green, orange, purple. I think pink would actually look really good on these too. $4.50, $1.50 each. A little spendy on this one, but again, it's fitting a pretty good size socket. 15/16 in my case, the biggest one. It'll also fit a 1-inch. In metric land, 24 millimeter. So hopefully you use your 24 lot, because you'll have 2 backups if you go that route. Now you're thinking like, whoa, what are you doing with these, buddy? You just finished your whole socket set with just 5 types of rings. So if you do the math on that, and keep in mind, you will have extras to replace it or apply to metric or whatever. $6, that's 12. $4.50 x 3, that's going to be $13.50. $25.50. I can fully customize this entire socket rail, and I do it for a very low price with backups should I ruin anything. And as long as we don't screw up the black ring, which, spoiler alert, when I sampled it on that extension, this thing came off beautifully. I'll show you exactly how I did it here shortly. You have those as backups too, okay? So go to town, my friends. Now, where things get really good here, all right? If I grab this guy, which, where did they put that part number? On the inside. Right here, you can verify what you've got, at least on this style, sort of right there where the pinky's at. This is the NBR390A, all right? This will also fit the 390, I presume. So if you loved the 390 and then you got the 390A, you can cover yourself here, because Type 6 is going to be right here. NTY R06. Do you see how those part numbers kind of flow? Very nice what the Japanese do with that. You can kind of read 2 or 3 and sort of start to reverse engineer what they're doing. R0503. What? That's right, B for blue. 3-piece set. I'm sorry, whoa. I was off. NTY R06 O2B. 2 pieces, $2.50, $1.25 each. We've actually lowered in price from those others. These are a smaller diameter, but they are thicker, all right? So $1.25 each, and these will fit your NBR390 series of ratchets. Once more, since, again, you may not have the Nepros ratchets, but sockets, but you've got the ratchet, this is what you're interested in. Right here, it's going to be Type number 6. NTY R06 O2B. 2 pieces, $2.50, $1.25 each. Fits your NBR 390 or 390A. All right. So again, why did we go over that one twice once more? Because if you have the ratchet, that is what you need. Similarly, all right, my first Nepros spinner, this big guy right here that you can see kind of sticking out, glorious rubber ring there. It's going to take a, you guessed it, a Type 7, and it is going to be this kit right here. It's a 1-piece, right? That's a pretty, look at the profile on that. That's a good chunk of rubber. It's NTY R0701 B for blue in this case. $2.50. Again, there's your size. Slightly smaller diameter, but again, wider profile. This will fit the NBE 3/8 spinner. Again, just think of that as 3/8 drive spinner, the OG spinner. But you say, hey, what's on this guy? All right, This is our NBR390 AF. This is the flex head. Guess what fits it? Anyone? Could it possibly be the Type 6? It sure is. Now, on the head, though, that you don't see from here is this spinner. And you think, well, what's the difference? That one seemed way bigger and I could see it. You totally could. This is the compact spinner. Nepros part number NBE C for compact 38. All right. Compact spinner is going to take a Type 8? No, 12. So what went on between here and there, this was probably a little later in development. Otherwise, it would have been really cool to just have Type 1 through 8. You'll need a Type 12 for the compact spinner. The part number is going to be right here, NTYR120B for blue. Anyone want to guess $2.50? Cool, you nailed it. That's it. That's what I've got. Again, I get it. Some of you may not like the blue, but how can you not? How could you not like that? This isn't like a super, it's not even as dark as the Mopar Omega M. It is close. It's going to be a couple of shades lighter. I'm not going to come in and call it Smurf blue, grabber blue. We've got some blue here. Gador. Vit. A very vibrant blue on the Nepros, and of course that's accentuated perfectly by the mirror polish. This is probably a bad example because I cannot replicate it. Okay, but this that was on like some aviation quick show shine detailer is pretty much a freaking perfect match. Now again, I wish I could tell you what I had here, but it came off literally of some like big jug of like aviation quick detailer, and I actually used it on the Duster. I would still use it if it didn't crack. So, but that's basically a perfect match. If you put foam to rubber, I don't think there'd be any change in that sense. If I come over here, just so you've got a comparison, this is one of the new channel lock multi-bit drivers. You can see the contrast is going to look a little bit more purple, right? No petty blue here, sort of more of like a vibrant royal blue. Since we have it, we'll go ahead and do this. My little torque set here from Vit. Again, this is sort of more channel lock petty blue. This is more of like a true blue. This is kind of like halfway between here and the Mopar Omega M. Okay, the Hazette teal. We'll call it what they call it. Similar, we could cross if we mixed up our own little concoction of Mopar blue and Hazette teal. We might come out with something very close to this. I'm trying to think of common things you may have. The VH nut setter here, a little bit darker than the rubber ring. Let's see. I've got an Olsa bit holder here. Again, that's going to be, this is more of like the Mopar Omega M in plastic form. So this is a little lighter than that. The PB Swiss handle that you always hear me over there. I'll do that for you here in a second. Pretty close. This has a little bit more offset blue. What is that sound that this makes though? If I do it intentionally, it's never as cool. But every time you hear me like graze something, like, what was that noise? It was those. Every time. I've got a vise I can't really show you. I have some Filos here that are darker blue, but they're kind of old stock. I don't think you'd recognize. Painter's tape. This might be a good one. It's probably something very, very common that everyone's going to have. It's actually fairly close, in part because this is covered in dust. I kept this actually to trace circles. That's truly why that's here on the bench. But I think that was like the perfect size. I don't remember what gauge it was now, but I was doing a cluster for someone, and I was like, oh, geez, I suck at drawing. Compasses never work well over here. Work, it's fine. The ones I have suck. That was awesome. But that's another story for another day. Last thing that I see in a blue hue I can easily grab. This Gador, you might have their pliers instead of the driver I showed. That's very close. So it's an awesome blue in my opinion, right? If I come back over here and snag the red for you, it's a very true, very accurate red, all right? So right there, very vibrant. It actually looks really good. We've got some Can never have too many of these. Milwaukee markers. That's very close to the Inksol, very close to that packaging. I've got a little VHA here. Oh, there's VHAs everywhere, but this one's loose. So, again, very, very close on that front. Milwaukee knife, which this one's good. The one at work sucks. That's why I quit buying them. I don't know what I'm going to get. Any other common reds? Not really. Well, there's a little... Nah, we'll roll with that. So, I am not a red person, as you know. This is a very nice red, I will say that. Now, where things kind of get a little interesting is the yellow, okay? It's perfect time for the alphas to come in. They're sort of more of a sublime than a green, right? This is kind of more of a high vis. If you were thinking like, oh, yellow, you know, this is kind of like a traditional, in my mind, again, growing up in the 90s, to me, when I think of Japan, I have like yellow and purple and, you know, just like real vibrance. Not necessarily anime stuff, because that was sort of after my time. I was more Ninja Turtles, right? As you can see, that was a very good contrast. Just as that pops up, it's sort of washed in this light, and then as that goes up, super, super highlighter fluorescent. I mean, this is like a literal high-vis highlighter. You get the idea. While I don't know that I would love this, I think it's going to look really good on the socket. Just again, because of the contrast. I think it's going to complement it well. That's what I got for you. I can tell you, these literally did come from Nepros. Shipped to me from Japan by way of Chicago or something. And it took a long time. I've had these on order a really, really long time. Somehow I think the shipment got lost. They probably don't sell many of these, since I've never seen anyone else do it, right? So I'm sure they're used to heavy items and long items and ratchets and sockets and hand tools with heft. This came in like a folded up little yellow envelope. I mean, you could toss that thing to the moon and back. No weight to these little rubber rings. So I'm kind of wondering if it just sort of got like misplaced, because it's so probably out of the norm for what they handle. But nonetheless, good Lord, this stuff is here, and I cannot wait to get it going. And that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to get this going. This is where you timestamp people probably jump back in, right? So every socket I'm going to go and populate in our selected color, which is blue. I'm going to go ahead and put a couple of items with the red and the yellow, just so we can see it and kind of, you know, oh, hey, you know, what would you do? Or you might like it type of a thing. While I do that, I will show you what I did to get it off. Again, your mileage may vary. You might have something that works way better. I know I just tried this and it worked, so I'm going to continue it until it doesn't. But I do want to know from you, what do you think of these, and what color would you like to see? Could be colors, right? Maybe you want to do green and orange, okay, like I do in the Harbor Freight Master Tech. Let me know, leave a comment. Again, I think the purple would look freaking sweet. I really do think the pink would look good. There's just so many options you can do, even different shades of blue. I mean, I would be the Hazette teal, sign of a sky blue, like if you just want a dark blue for metric, light blue. Tons and tons of options, and they seem to do this very well. This is a very cheap spoon. This is not, not a pick. This is a spoon, all right? So you know how you use your picks and you always tear up? Man, I should really have a... does not work well to show black on black, does it? If you're using a pick to get O-rings, it probably works, but you're also probably piercing every other O-ring that you get off with a pick, right? Or tearing it completely. Maybe it's washed or shot and you don't care. If you're planning to reuse it, or you don't have that size, so you're sort of like, I think I'm going to try, this would be a way better tool for that. Similarly, I could probably do this very well and just fine with a pick, because of this illustrious chrome that's probably very thick, but this is better, all right? You might have a plastic trim tool. I have lots of plastic trim tools, but none of them like this small. So what I did, let me time this out because it's going, and we're back. No, the suspense there, I know. But what I'm going to do, if I would have not timed that out, we would have just lost. I would have been like right under the ring, and then this thing would have timed out and it would have been terrible. So I try to consider it a favor. I pulled this up so I'm less likely to tear the rubber ring, but I just got the spoon underneath it. Snap-on has a very nice set of these, but the problem is I know they're made by Mayhew. I know what the Mayhews cost, and then I know what Snap-on wants, and I just never have brought myself. I always hope there's a huge sale where the guy shows up and he's like, man, I just can't unload those. I'm like, whoa, how unfortunate. I have $40, let's make a deal. But as is, the cat's paw are just fine. Now, some of you, unless you've had a very unfortunate circumstance, have probably never seen the Nepros sockets without the rubber ring. Personally, I think they look freaking good like this. I mean, like, you've seen the KTC set sort of have similar ribbing and steps and everything. If you're a machinist, or if you're working in like really, really bad chemicals that you constantly have eating the rubber rings, you might just spoon those rubber things off and go bare metal anyway. Like, so there that is, and I do genuinely think that looks amazing. Again, it should, given that this is like the world's most ridiculously OP socket. But what I want to do now is highlight what we did, okay? The spoon goes under the spoon prise, and I take this off, and it's intact, which is important, because if you put this on, like if you just like, I'm going to ease the waters, I don't know if that blue came through well on the video. If you hated it, you can go right back to this, okay? Same thing, maybe you go all in on the high vis, and then like, boom, you found the kryptonite chemical. It should be pretty durable, just thinking off the top of my head, but let's say that it wasn't, okay? You've got this as a backup in the meantime, right? Or if you're like, man, that high vis was so cool, but I truly use my Nepros sockets and it's filthy and I can't stand the way it looks, back to black. Can never go wrong. Back to black, right? So, what we would do after that is come in, and I'm looking for Type 5 in this case, which would be where? It's going to be a 3-piece set. It's the only 3-piece set. That should help me a little bit. See how they did that? Right here. This will be the only tutorial we do, and then you'll get to see the finished product, I promise. NTY R05 03, insert consonant color choice there. This is what I'm going to use. Man, these staples. You know, on the warehouse sale, I was going to buy some Nepros pliers. But, they were out of stock, unfortunately. So I really want to see those handles in person. That's spoiling a video, but I assume a lot of people have checked out or are jumping around at this point, so I can leak some information to those of you loyal viewers. So what I'm going to do is pop these suckers out. We are using Japanese pliers there. It only seems fitting. And it's kind of been nice having this, because I was always using like the ginormous channel locks there, which worked fine, but a little smaller finite precision is good too. So I'll just set that there. If I throw it on the black, it's going to be harder to find. All right, gotta try to get this out. It's much easier to get the smaller tin piece to slide out. All right, so here we are. This is our ring. This is our socket. And we're going to, this is literally the second time I've done this, so if I can pull it off, it must be easy. She's kind of rolling the wrong way, but I think we can correct. Actually, this is on backwards. If you hated the, I don't know who would hate the ribs, but if you hated the ribs and you just kind of wanted the aesthetic of it with not as much like I said, I don't know who would prefer it, but that's backwards, and it gives you the pop of color, but it doesn't really have the benefit, in my opinion. I think I would be a nubby person, meaning I want it to be installed the other way. So, like, it's probably easier to do this without a tripod hanging around, but we'll make do. And again, if you're curious, even though I screwed it up, popped off, it is fine. It does look even lighter on the socket, I must admit. Really, really cool stuff here. Oh no, we just broke one. So, I do think it's easy. We did this one perfectly fine on our first try. But, as you can see, not everything goes beautifully well. So, tutorial is over. We will pull these off. I'll probably keep a couple of small ones so we can try again on camera. Again, you got to realize, like, my hands are here, my body and face are here behind the camera, so it's very strange, even after years of doing it. But I'm going to get these things populated. It's freezing out here. I'm going to turn my heater back on. I was so excited about this, I even turned the little cheap heater off. But I'm going to crank that sucker back up, try to get feeling in my feet again, and have some beautiful blue Nepros sockets to show you. So yeah, literally, you pull the socket up to your face and it works just fine. So I'll blame the camera, and we will proceed on. Alright, knee deep in the project's transition here, and I just wanted to highlight a couple things. Number one, started big, working our way small. This is the contrast on the rail. Again, factory as delivered, and there is our custom. Super cool. And what we have here, this is actually the two sockets that use a Type 2 rubber ring, 5/8 and 11/16. It's a little confusing. You'd think they would be like identical, but the way Nepros does this, the 11/16 being the bigger socket actually has a ever so slightly taller profile. But there it is again, 5/8 in black, 11/16 in the blue. I will say, in my opinion, the blue gets a little lighter once on the socket, and it's not just anything to do with the polish or the aesthetic appearance. It kind of stretches, and you can kind of see the white of the rubber as you're trying to get it on. And then once you seat it, it's kind of obviously lost that slightly darker hue. It looks really, really good though. And most importantly, you maintain that tactical feel. Again, I'm going ridges out. It's just personal preference there, but there is a nice side-by-side. Everything else now, from 9/16 down, is going to be a Type 1, which is super convenient. Again, in metric land, that was like a 5.5 to 15. So, well, that said, I'm going to go finish this up, and then we'll look at the finished product. And by the way, I have not broken another ring. It was just that one I tried to do with the camera in front of me. I did switch to this. It's an OEM. Again, probably just, I'm not sure they're not the same tool, but for some reason this one seems to slide under a little easier, so I'm just rolling with it. But we'll get these knocked out. I'll do a couple of them in red and yellow so you can see, and we will continue on. What's going on here, you ask? Well, it's a white background. This could be a channel first. And I did this because I was taking pictures, and I take a lot of pictures that I intend to post to Instagram, and then I never post them because the videos come out like months after the fact, and then they're buried in my camera roll, stuff from work. So here we go in video form. This is quite the sight. This is quarter 5, and you know we use white and we don't focus. Make it make sense. It's just too lustrous, right? Well, it's just really not, I tell you. Poor camera probably doesn't know what to do. So I quit recording and I come back and it's just instantly focused. Make it make sense, I can't. But quarter, 5/16 and 3/8 left to right, yellow, red, and blue. The blue on the white backdrop looks a bit darker. As I've sat here and done these, I've been doing them on a calendar here on the hood of a car. And it's more workspace when moving the tripod. The red transferred beautifully, as did the yellow. The yellow, like I said, I do think it's more of a highlighter, high-vis vibe, and it does really pop with the contrast of the mirror polished chrome. That said, again, as somebody that is not a red person, that is really, really good looking. The blue as well. I will tell you, the only factory ring I broke was oddly enough on the, was it the 3/8 or quarter? I think the 3/8. And don't know what happened. Hadn't broken any of the others, and then it just broke. And then 2 blue rings that would fit the 10 pack that fits these small quarter to 9/16. I had 2 of them break, and it wasn't even like wedging it on the socket. It just kind of like as I began the initial stretch, they snapped. I'll take full responsibility when I like sliced one or did something. Those I honestly think it was just like dry rubber. It could in part be because it's so freaking cold out here. But yeah, this is something I wanted you to get to see here with a better backdrop. But I'm going to finish up and we'll take a look. Alright, you ready for this? It's the reveal of the set on the rail. Again, Absolutely awesome to be able to do this, interchange it. It's just ridiculously cool. I've got the initial teaser here, the Wobble extension versus the fixed extension, so you can kind of see the contrast between default black and the blue. I'm going to come over now, probably know what we've got to grab. It's 3 Amigos, because I want to highlight again the color contrast. 1/4, 5/16, and 3/8. And this will be on the typical backdrop you're accustomed to seeing. And right there they are. I'm getting a little black backdrop for you. We'll come up a little closer. Again, that red stayed very, very true to form in my opinion. Really, really nice. And again, I am not someone that is a fan of red. The blue looks great here. Again, less stretch on the smaller sockets. I actually started coming when they were smaller from the top down. The high-vis yellow would be my least favorite, but it certainly has potential. Again, think if you fill out your socket set with red, but you want yellow to be your 10, or yellow to be the 10, 13, 17, 19, 8, 10, whatever you're working on, right? Tons and tons of options here. Even just staggering them down the line, and then you memorize what colors are what. So there those are. I assure you, get these two switched over to our blue. Casualties, like I said, didn't really have much go wrong. The one that I broke right here trying to demo for you, and then I had 2 of the blue bands snap, just literally while attempting to put them on, before it was strained even. So I think, again, dry rubber could have been bad. Could have just been the cold temperature combined with everything. They had like no stretch whatsoever. All of the others did. Let's see here. This, you're thinking like, show me that ratchet. I'm going to leave this one black. This is the NBR390. This is not the redesigned one. This is the standard one, the first one we had. There's the black rubber ring. Right here, there is the big spinner. I'm going to set that down. Some of you may know where I'm going with this. It's not here, but this is going to work really well. What I did, and I'll show you why. This is really the only complaint I would have. It's this guy. This is the ring for this ratchet. Well, I thought it was. Yes, it is. Okay. This was not me, I promise you. That black Sharpie looking mark, that was actually there in the sealed package. So I tried wiping it off. I couldn't get it to come off. I probably could try harder. However, I thought, man, why would I do that when I want to contrast a default stock ratchet versus something different? And again, I might go with this setup. The black signifies this is the OG, the original, the first, and then this, this would indicate it's the redesigned NBR390A, and it's the compact spinner. Let's start there. This is really, really nice. This had very little stretch. This was also thicker. Just look at it there, and the glove almost takes on a purple hue until... That is money, is it not? I mean, that looks really good. Again, coming down this way, it kind of slides on naturally, had way less stress, didn't white and kind of lighten the blue hue there. Feels just as good. Super, super cool. Coming in, the last item we need to showcase is the ratchet. And there it is. I think like troll. I agree. But check this out. NBR390A, again, 10-year redesign. We now can tell them, granted mine's a flex head, but we'll assume they were the exact same ratchet. Look at that. That is so, so cool. I'm going to go ahead now, and we're going to pair this. Again, the reason this anvil looks so good, and I tell you I do use this a lot, is because this spinner does not leave it, okay? Right here now, the Wobble Fix extension, just so we can pair the entire thing. Tell me that's not cool. And the best part, the dexterity, even with the gloves, especially this chonk, you can feel I get good grip there. That's why my hand's not sliding like it does there. Super, super cool. And let's just do the handles first. I think it'll be less dramatic, actually. here we are. NBR390 in black, 390A in blue. Get them side by side. Again, I really do use these. I'm not afraid of like chipping the chrome or anything. So there they are. Now this will be super cool. 390A in blue on the left, 390 OG in black on your right. This really does take on sort of a lighter purple-esque hue, you know, like when they've stretched, especially some of the sockets. But this is just too cool. Again, may not be for everybody, but if you're a veteran viewer of the channel, I think you'll appreciate it. We do have this as a backup here if I want to change that. I honestly think I'm going to, out of respect to Nepros, and this was the first one. Granted, we had the Blue Ion, which was the first one, but out of the first, you know, like standard one, mirror polish, I'm going to leave it black. I'm totally okay with that. I'll have a backup ring in blue for this. That's fine. If that ever like loses its ridges or anything, I kind of wondered if that would ever happen. But we got the backups there. The yellow, red, and blue. Let me know your thoughts, what you like better and why, what you would do. You're just going to leave your stock? Are you going to be like, you know what? No. Metric is black, my SAE is going to be blue, red, yellow, vice versa. Keep in mind, you don't have to do SAE blue and metric yellow. You could leave one of them black and cut your expense in half. Granted, it is not very expensive. Based on my experience, I would pre-plan. That's what I did. I mapped it all out, what, you know, type ring fit what size socket, how many sockets I had of each size. You will get a little overage in some of them. Again, freakishly enough, the ones I broke were on the 3/8. I do think that they were dry. It wasn't on me. Again, this one, the 15/16 I tried, yeah, that was me. Okay, I'll take the blame when it's really my fault. But bottom line, if you're like going to do a ton of these and you're cutting it close, or you have one per, it might be smart to err on the side of caution. And I say that especially if you're buying from Japan, because it would suck to have like one or two break and you're stuck with them with no ring and your set doesn't match or look the way you wanted it to, and then you have to go and order a minuscule like $6 and then pay way more than that in freight to get it to you or something stupid. So time your orders, stack the orders, wait for sales. DRPD, again, I bought these direct from Nepros. DRPD, they have red. It's kind of hard to find. If you're like looking for it, it comes up a lot easier. Imagine that. But I'm going to talk to Mike and I'm going to see if he will expand out to the blue. I'm not sure why he wouldn't, but I'm also not sure, would you buy this, right? Is this just me and like a handful of you that are like, oh, it's the coolest thing ever? Or are you like, you know what, that is incredibly practical. My one knock on my Nepros sockets is they look identical and it's hard to see the stamping and the light, you know, when it's just right. Color coding will be perfect. You could have them in a tray. It could be a Hansen tray, it could be, you know, a friction peg from MTS, it could be an Ernst rail that's fully labeled and color coordinated to your standards. That helps. If you want to use this style of a rail, or if you have something similar that's not labeled like an Ernst or an MTS product, the color-coded rings might be a deal. It might just be that you could care less about the socket, but you want to see your extension or your spinner in red. You might think, hey, I'm going to put my big spinner in high vis and I want the compact one in red, or I'm going to color code my extension links, or I'm kind of on the fence about this. I'm going to go El Cheapo style, and I'm just going to buy that because it's super freaking cool. Okay. I want to know your thoughts because, again, like Mike, what's he going to stock? Is he going to just be like, well, I wasn't even sure about the red, I never sell them? Or will people see this and you go hog wild and he can't keep them in stock and he's getting demands for every other color and he's relaying it to Nepros and they're like, hey, you know, some idiot on our survey said we should make purple, green, and orange. You know, we already had that kind of in the works. Or, you know, I guess he's not crazy. Everyone else wants more colors. This is the time because, again, I've never seen anyone do this. I haven't seen videos. I haven't seen pictures. I haven't seen forum posts. Nothing. I'm sure someone's done it, especially in Japan. I would hope someone has done this. If no one has done this, like legitimately, yeah, outside of like employees maybe, that's crazy, because this is stupid cool. And I sincerely mean that in the best way. This is awesome to me. Imagine whether you're Snap-on, maybe you like old school Proto, maybe you're an SK guy. Imagine if SK had a grooved area that was just, you know, their nice shiny chrome, but you had the option of putting a green rubber ring in it, or a black rubber ring, or they're like, well, okay, green's our color, let's do different shades of green. Let's offer green and see what people would want to differentiate their SAE, their metric, their torques, you know, bit sockets. This is cool. This is not paint. This is something that is not stupid expensive, really. Again, we had a really high success having never done it, and I again cannot stress, as my foot is just losing feeling, how cold it is out here right now. And I'm thrilled. This is just as cool as I thought it would be. That's why I've stayed out here all this time doing it. That's why I changed my whole night's plans. I opened it innocently, and I thought, I gotta do it. The suspense will kill me. It's gonna be too cool. So I love it. Let me know your thoughts. And again, whether this is like Nepros, like, hey, you people got to make the purple. This guy's right. If you're like, what? They've got high-vis yellow and no green? Have they not researched this? Do they not know green would sell more? If it's like grayscale colors, if you want white, whatever, leave a comment, because again, I've not seen this anywhere. And this is great feedback should they ever come across this, or, you know, solicit, like, hey, what could we do? You know, how can we push this? If everyone's over here like, I wish they had that in green. If they had it in green, I'd buy it. Please tell people. If you think this is totally stupid, you can say that too. But for the people genuinely like, that is stupid cool, I totally, like, I'm now more interested in Nepros sockets because of this type of thing. What do you want to see from it? What colors would you like to see other manufacturers do this? Again, some people may attack this and say it's petty and childish, and who would care about customization? Yet if their preferred vendor, if Matco came out with this, or Snap-on's like, look, rubber rings in the sockets and you can pick your color, isn't that cool? People would have a different song, some of them, right? Like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. So genuinely, if you are interested, what do you like about it? What colors would you like to see? I think it's awesome. Again, I've submitted a ton of ideas to them. And the purple, the orange, like that, it would all just look so good. It's got to be the right hue of those colors, you know. Certain ones are going to work better, but this is awesome. It's just as cool as I thought it would be. And for the bonus time people, I'll get the yellow and the red switched out. And man, this is awesome. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you timestamp people came in for this final reveal, you're welcome. I literally put the timestamps for you. That kills the channel. It does bad things. This is an old channel anyway. So you can help me out by leaving a like. It's free. If you haven't subscribed, I encourage you to do that. If you subscribe, you ring the bell, you jump your charger across the creek while placing your choice of Nepros rubber ring colors on your Nepros NBR390 Ratchet. YouTube just might notify you we got brand new videos every Wednesday and Saturday, 9 a.m. Texas time. Again, I do thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Most importantly, I hope I catch you back here for more from the shop. As promised, it's collar number 9 bonus time. And I told you, man of my word, you're going to get to see the complete rail converted from black to blue. I wish I had metric set or another SAE set where I could black versus blue and ooh, look at the difference. But I don't. Money doesn't grow on trees. So there it is. But I would be remiss if we didn't take this to the next level. This is stock. This is factory modifications, factory upgrades, if you will. What sort of debauchery is that? It's not. It's factory inspired, right? They produce it, they sell it, they want you to have the option. We can't leave well enough alone. Now, we have a lot of extra rubber rings, and I've got a lot of questions. And, I'm going to come in right here. I took the yellow and the red off, so we know they were type 1s. That's the only yellow and red I've got. I'm not saying you would do this, but I'm saying you can do this, okay? KTC, this is not a Nepros. This is KTC, satin finish. Schwam, look at that. Okay. Again, it doesn't really fit like it's not recessed. There's groove here. There's a groove here too where I've got it sitting. It's just not machined to the same width as the Nepros iterations to let that really sit in there. You could do that if you wanted to, like, you know, compromise the finish and just have this kind of nest better. But what this does is this goes from, you know, kind of being a relatively smooth, I wouldn't say slick, but, you know, smooth surface to, oh, that has bite. Okay, you can pick whether you'd want, you know, the ring here, the ring there, rings on both sides, color codes mean what length it is. Or what about this? What if we take an adapter, right? Let's say that my quarter drive stuff is high-vis yellow, my half-inch stuff is blue. Well, here I've got my 3/8 to quarter reducer, and I've got it outfitted in the high-vis yellow. Again, same thing. Look at that. Fits like a glove. Whereas this, which is the 3/8 to half-inch adapter, you know, it's got the ridges and it's got a little bit of grip, but nothing like this. In fact, it was kind of slipping out of my finger there. This will not, because of the rubber ring. Just because we had a lot. I've got one Type 1. I broke two. Okay, I'll give you this bonus as well, just so you know I'm not lying. These two literally just kind of snapped. I wasn't even like straining them or pulling them yet. They just snapped. It's really two of them. So that was sad. That left me with one extra Type 1. Okay. So why would I do this and risk it with it? I didn't. This is a Type 2 that we had like 8 extras. Same thing. You could pick your position, top or bottom. Again, the annoying part of it is that it's so wide of a profile. It's not sunk in like the Nepros. But that's also kind of one of the selling points of this, because you get even more of the rubber in your hand. In terms of those situations, maybe you don't have a great ratchet, you know, and you're sitting here spinning, you can't get it to catch and actually turn the fastener anymore. So what do you do a lot of the time? You try to turn it by hand, but maybe, you know, you need a little bit more leverage, or it hurts your fingers, or you can't get to it well. Something like this would be epic, especially if you have like a certain size, like quarter 20 stuff, right? So you need 7/16 socket. Put this on there, this lets you hand start or finish pulling it out type of a thing when you hit the point of no resistance. Just options. Again, Type 2, this is the smallest quarter drive 3/8 deep from KTC. So is this intended? No. Is this designed by the manufacturer to work with these? No. Does it work with these? Yes. Does it work and integrate as well as the Nepros? No. That was designed for. That rubber ring is a feature from the factory. These just kind of work, you know. If you've got some stray pieces here or there, you've got like 6 to 8 extra rings in a certain size, you got some options, okay? So with that, we've wrapped up our bonus time. Again, I thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Again, subscribe if you have not. I would sincerely appreciate the support. And if you pull the trigger on this, I want to know what you're doing, why, and what you hope to see in the future. Be that colors or other companies jumping on, or would you rather have a different material? Whatever you want to talk about, feel free. With that said, I'm cold. I gotta go. Hope you enjoyed, and I do hope I catch you back for more from the shop.